Hi, Peter Jones, Chartered Surveyor, author and property investor, and we're thinking about estate agents and how to find great deals through estate agents. A legitimate question which I'm often asked is, how does one actually talk to an estate agent and find properties if you're pursuing multiple strategies? And that is a great question, because it could be, for example, that you're looking for properties to flip, and it could be that you're looking for properties to buy to let. And if we go back to a very basic level, both of those types of properties are probably going to be completely different. The buy to lets are probably going to be in slightly cheaper areas which are good for renting out. Flip properties, because we want to sell them on, we're probably going to want to sell them on to owner occupiers. They're probably going to be higher quality properties than our rental properties. But we want to be able to go into the estate agents with confidence and not confuse them and not make them think that we're time wasters by making them think that we're not quite sure what we want to do and we're just sort of following every strategy there is and we're just going to be a complete waste of time. So I would suggest probably the best thing to do is to just introduce the different strategies sequentially, not go in and just try and introduce yourself to the estate agent and tell them that you're following 3 strategies all at one time, and then expect them to send you details. I would pick one strategy and for the first few weeks, or maybe even the first month or 2, concentrate on finding properties which fit that strategy. As time goes by, you can then start introducing that you're also looking for other types of property. Now don't forget, you're not going to be talking to just one estate agent, you're going to be talking to hopefully all of the estate agents in your target area. Now the reality is that a lot of them, once you walk through the door, even though they might want you to convince them that you're very specific and niche and you know what you're talking about, the reality is that they're going to chance their arm by testing you out. Every so often they're just going to send you basically everything that they get. So every new instruction which comes through the door, they're going to send you details of. So you may find that the reality is that you end up looking at properties which suit different strategies anyway, and they're not actually the properties which you've asked for. So that's all well and good. But taking it further, how do we carry on with this? Well, you've got to get to know the estate agent. You need to get to the point where you've got rapport with the estate agent, where you can pick up the phone and just have a chat with them. And whereas you might not be best buds, you're going to be good acquaintances. How do we do that? Well, it's about spending time with them. And I would always suggest that when you're beginning to investigate an area or when you're first starting out, you must go into the estate agent's office and you must physically sit at their desk. They must be able to see you. Now, if you're, I don't know, located overseas and you can't do that, then ringing up on the telephone might be the next best thing. But it's not as good. You need to get into the office. You need to actually sit down with them and build rapport. And if your investment area is local to you, then you want to go and see the estate agents as often as you can. If you're developing in an investment area which is away from home, then you might not be able to go in regularly. And by regularly, I'm talking about maybe once a week. You may not be able to do that, but if you can't go in once a week, you can at least go in perhaps once a month, and the other 3 weeks of the month you can then ring. But you certainly want to keep in their mind space, and you want to be ringing them and asking them if something new has come in. Why do you want to keep ringing them and asking them if something new has come into the office? Not to irritate them, and by the way, are they going to get irritated? Well, they're not, because if you're showing that you're keen, they're going to see you as being a potential sale, which after all is what they're after. They're there to sell properties. If they can sell them to somebody who's keen, then it makes their life so much easier anyway. So again, I think for new and beginner investors, we have this perception that we're being a bit of a nuisance. You're not being a nuisance, you're just showing them that you're serious and committed, and that's what they want. They want somebody who's serious and committed. So definitely be in contact with them as much as you can. Now, I know that there are investors who are highly successful who do things like take them cakes, who take them in a cup of coffee, all that kind of stuff. Personally, that's not my style, because I'm a bit shy, believe it or not, but I know that some people do it and it really works well for them. If I knew the estate agent pretty well, I would probably do that at some stage. I wouldn't do it on day one though, because I wouldn't know what sort of cakes they actually like. But perhaps if I've been to see them for a couple of months, I might start doing that kind of thing. That's got to be a good thing to do. I know of other investors who, when they buy a property through an estate agent, will give them perhaps a bottle of champagne as a thank you. Now, please don't misunderstand me. I'm not talking about trying to bribe the estate agent. You're not going to bribe them with a donut anyway. And I'm certainly not talking about brown envelopes full of money. That is illegal, it's fraud, it's all the kind of stuff you do not want to do. But kindness can go a long way. Just showing somebody a little bit of appreciation, either before you do a deal or after you do a deal, or both. That can be a great thing to do. It's all about being in their mind space. Of course, when they ring up and they invite you to do a viewing, you must do the viewing. Even if the property isn't quite what you're after, I'd go anyway. Why? Because it gives you a chance to talk to the estate agent, it gives you a chance to learn, it gives you a chance to look at a property in your investment area and to get an idea of values and to see what that particular type of property is selling for and how it compares with properties in the next street. And one thing which I've found so many times over and over is that whenever I've been to inspect a property or view a property with an estate agent, even if that property hasn't been right for me, actually being at the premises, actually being able to eyeball the estate agent and have a chat with them on the doorstep and explain to them exactly what I'm looking for again. I mean, obviously you'll have told them in the office, but when you're out there again, they'll so often say something like, well, we've got one which is just coming on around the corner, would you like to go and see it? I think I've got the keys in the car. That happens so often. Or it may be that actually as you're arriving at the viewing or going away from the viewing, you just happen to notice a board with another agent which perhaps you haven't spotted before, and you make an appointment and that turns out to be the property which is ideal. That happens all the time. There's just so many good reasons for getting out and about and actually viewing properties even if they're not quite right. The thing which the estate agent's going to love about you though, if you go and do a viewing, even if the property doesn't quite suit you, is that it looks good for the agent. They can tell their client that they're doing viewings, they can say that they've got interest in the property, and you're just making the estate agent's life so much easier that you'll become one of their preferred buyers in time because you're just doing the kind of stuff they want you to do. So if you want to expand your portfolio, or maybe you're just looking to start and you want to follow my plan and you want to know how I went from literally having no money of my own, that's not hype, it's absolutely true, I didn't have any money at all, to owning £2 million worth of property in my first 4 years in my property business, then go across to my website www.thepropertyteacher.co.uk, click on Learning with Peter, and you can invest in yourself by purchasing a copy of my ebook, The Successful Property Investor's Strategy Workshop, in which I take you through basically my first 4 years of investing and everything I did, including how I dealt with estate agents and the kind of things that I was looking for and the way that I did it, so that you can do the same. By the way, I'll also tell you everything I did wrong as well as everything I did right, so that you can avoid my mistakes, and hopefully it'll speed your journey to wherever you're going to in property. Did I stop at 2 million after 4 years? Well, of course not. Maybe that's the subject of a future book. But if you want to get started, or if you want to expand your portfolio now, then that could be a great resource for you. Until next time, here's to successful property investing.